Following instructions from the pilot gulls, the flock from Red Sand Lighthouse seized a current of cold air and dived towards the shoal of herrings. Kenga ducked her head to catch her fourth herring, and as a result, she didn't hear the squawk of alarm that shattered the air. Danger to port. Emergency takeoff. When Kenga lifted her head from the water, she found herself all alone in the immensity of the ocean. Kenga unfolded her wings to take off, but the approaching wave was too quick. Its force swept her beneath the surface, and when she came back up, the daylight had disappeared. She shook her head again and again, realizing that she had surfaced through the black wave of an oil slick that had nearly blinded her. Kenga, the gull with feathers once the color of silver, kept dipping her head deep into the water, until a few sparks of light penetrated the thick oil, covering her eyes. Sticky blobs, the gulls called the Black Plague, glued her wings to her body. She began to kick her feet, with the hope that she could swim fast enough to escape from the black tide. Every muscle cramped with the effort. But at last she came to the edge of the oil slick, and paddled into clean water. She blinked, and dipped her head, until she was able to clear her eyes. But when she looked up, all she saw were a few clouds, floating between the sea and the enormous dome of the skies. Her friends from the flock of the Red Sand Lighthouse were already far away, very far away. The black stain. As she awaited the end, Kenga cursed all humans. But not all of them. I should be fair, she squawked weakly. Often from high above, she had watched as large oil tankers took advantage of foggy days along the coast to steam away from land. To wash out their tanks, they spilled thousands of gallons of a thick, stinking substance into the sea, which then was carried along by the waves. But she also saw how sometimes smaller vessels kept close to the tankers and prevented them from emptying their tanks. Unfortunately, those boats, draped in the colors of the rainbow, didn't always arrive in time to prevent the poisoning of the seas. Kenga spent the longest hours of her life resting on the waves, wondering with terror whether she was awaiting the most horrible of all deaths. Worse than being eaten by a fish. Worse than suffering the torture of suffocation. Was dying of hunger.